What up, YouTube? This is Steven Talbot. This is Talbot Rex. So I got to see Revenant over the weekend, or the week, past week, and I kind of want to kind of give you my thoughts about the Revenant. By the way, spoilers. I will probably talk a lot about. I want to be really truthful to Revenant, and so I'm going to talk a lot about the Revenant and stuff like that. And so I'm just want to say spoilers to kind of begin with, and also. And so I want to talk about the Revenant, and then I may talk about Best Picture. We'll see if time permits. And so I really want to start off saying this is a great film. This is a really awesome film. If you're a history buff, who really wants a good history film, go watch this film. You're going to love this film. And I think it's a good film. It's not like this high and mighty type of film. I think that's what I really think. It's like it's not this a glorious type film, but it's a good film. Especially, it's definitely one of the best for 2015. It definitely deserves being in the conversation for best motion picture, and we'll see. I think there's some interesting indications that it might not be, and we'll talk about that later, kind of moving forward. So overall, I think it's good, and kind of just talking kind of to my friends, like kind of the reaction that I got was like, and that happened. Like it left everybody really speechless. It left a lot of my friends speechless. Like they really could not talk about that film. Almost in the same sense like this year, like Mad Max did. Like it just grabbed everybody's attention. They just people just how quick that movie was and how climatic that film was. Like it just made everybody like at the end of that movie, no one wanted to really talk about it. And that is really interesting. And so it's definitely I would definitely agree like with a lot of people I know like it's a slow Mad Max. It's very much so. Kind of going forward, I have to say the cinematics in this movie is so gorgeous. Like scene by scene, it's like you're almost looking like an Instagram account, just with the most prettiest like mountain type pictures. You name it, they have it. Like the rivers are pretty, the lake, just the woods that they're hunting, the animals that they use. I remember the first scene in the beginning of the film, where it's just this very peaceful type thing. They're out hunting in this hunting party, and they see these moose from afar off, and they aim at them and shoot them, and it's like it's just such a gorgeous type thing. Then even the sound plays a nice that type of role. Like you hear like in certain parts of the movie, you hear like the snow coming down. You hear a lot of the natural type elements, and that's makes it gives it like a really interesting soundtrack. Very good sound as well. So I would definitely say like the scenery and just those different parts really work well for that film. And I think it's great. I think it's awesome. I think the acting is good overall. I think Tom Hardy, who supported Leonardo DiCaprio, did a fantastic job. Like he gets my clap because he, like, out of 2015, out of anybody else, like he has done the biggest to help his career. Like he's had Mad Max in the beginning, and then to kind of conclude the year, he had Revenant. I think other than one of the there's one actor I think in Star Wars who has helped his career more, but like between them two, um, like Tom Hardy is ridiculous, and I think he did a phenomenal job. Like a lot of people did not know, like um, me included, like did not know Tom that was Tom Hardy. Like into a way into the movie, you're like, oh, who is Tom Hardy? Like, oh, it's the Fitzgerald character, and so that's awesome. I think now I'm going to have to talk about the biggest performance, which is Leonardo DiCaprio's performance. Um, it's interesting. I split with this performance. I think it's one of the best method acting, action type acting um, performances you've seen in a very very long time. Like the actions that he does are so intense, like and so dramatic. Like it's very hard to pull off what he just did. Like him biting into raw fish, that bear scene, you name it, he did it. The horse and him digging into the horse, dripping out his guts, and then getting into the horse. Like he did a lot of like ridiculous type stuff. Him being outside in the Arctic, very very intense in terms of action oriented type movie. Um, they did like it, but during this film they did rip out kind of like the bear kind of basically slit open his voice cords, and so like it's very unclear like does he have full voice, does he not? And because of that they kind of really limited his actual dialogue. Like, to be honest, with that character, he did not have any great lines in that film, and I think that's where it makes it very conflicting for me. Like his actual like his performance, like in terms of dialogue and stuff like that, is not as good. It's not. There's just nothing that grips you. And I think we'll talk about kind of the story and how that may be a little bit it could be kind of the problem. Um, but I think he does a phenomenal job. He really pulls you into that film, like you really care about this guy. Just there's a lot of stuff going for that film, um, but it's interesting. There's kind of a good interesting mix of that. So we have that, and then we have the story I I think the story is really the weakness of the film. I think the actions and the cinematography. I think you definitely see the director was going for this big actions and cinematography and all that. But the story plot kind of is really the weakness. It's a good story, but it's like a very cliche story. Like if you watch old Western type films, you know a revenge film, and that's exactly what this film is. But that being said, I think there's some interesting nuances, all the old nuances. I don't know how to say it. Just how they showed a really interesting treatment of the Native Americans, how that all comes into being, and that makes it really compelling. Like the hawk is the sun and all that. Although it's not the greatest compelling story. But those are interesting parts, and so we have like this revenge story with like him trying to survive type story, and so like it's a very predictable story, and I think that's the problem with this film. I think some of the things that they really could have improved, like in terms of the story and kind of the film, I think like honestly, I would like a more of a bigger, better narrative in terms of like where they were located because they don't really. I don't think they say as much as like this took place. This movie took this place, this place, and this place. And I think you could have done it like in the beginning scenes of the film. Like you could have religiously just like this is where we are. Like did like a one little line. It tells us, okay, I got it, I got you. And I think that helps build the narrative. And I think one of the key flashbacks where he sees his wife get shot by the soldier and him holding on to his son. I think that could have been done better. Could have given a little bit more back details and stuff like that. I wish that you would have used flashbacks more better because you see there's this great scene of him laying in like this pasture. Like what is it? What's with it? So they give more these dream type elements, almost make it almost like Interception, part two almost in a sense, in which is like, oh gosh. But it's interesting. Just how those all come together. Do they work out and stuff like that? And so I, it is what it is. There is some cool lines. I think my favorite line was like when the Indian, his partner, the Indian that talks to Leonardo DiCaprio, was like, let God judge them. And I think I like how at the ending they said that, and I think that was kind of cool to see that. But I don't think the story was great. I really don't. I think it's almost if you want to watch a better film, go watch Dancing with Wolves, which is a very very similar type film. It almost has that same like he was captured by Indians, brought into the Indian culture, fell in love with the Native Americans and so on. And I think you would definitely get a very similar film with Dances with Wolves, and so and some other frontier slash western type films. And so yeah, that's my thoughts about it. In terms of like best picture and stuff like that, I think it has a very good chance. I would say could be definitely a good front runner. In terms of that scenarios, I think there's two other films. I think The Martian. You can watch my other YouTube video about what I think about The Martian. I have really good thoughts about it. But I think it's my personal favorite thing because it gripped me the most. But I really do think at the end of the day it will be Mad Max, and it will be be Revenant. I think it will be a very close match between those two films because they're very similar. Those very high speed action type movies that have not a great story. Both of them have not, you know, jaw dropping stories, but they do immerse you in the world. Beautiful scenery, like Mad Max does the desert as pretty as Revenant does the Arctic or wherever they are, Canada. And so it'll be interesting to see. Guys, what are your thoughts? You know, here's my Talby wonders, is what my friends would say. You guys, what are you thinking? What do you like about The Revenant? Do you like the film? Do you not like the film? Please tell me if you don't like the film, because I like to hear about that. What do you take away? Do you like the performance of Tom Hardy? Do you like the performance of Leonardo DiCaprio? These are so many different cool things. And what do you think it compares to The Martian and Mad Max? Do you think it's a clear toss-up between Mad Max and Revenant, or do you think The Martian has a chance to get into that? We'll see. We'll find out, I guess, in a couple of months. And so, this is Steven Tower signing off. I hope you had a great time hanging out with me and liking this. I want to do more of this. And thank you for watching this video. And bye.